Welcome to the Glitch Blog. Imagine a nation, a nuclear power with an iron grip on its digital presence, suddenly vanishing from the internet. This isn't a theory, it's the true story of how one anonymous hacker, targeted by state-sponsored spies, decided to fight back. Authorize your access by subscribing now. Part 1. The Hunter Becomes the Hunted. January 2021. The digital battlegrounds were shifting. North Korean state-sponsored threat actors, known for their audacious cyber-espionage, launched a calculated campaign. Their target, Western security researchers, experts whose insights and tools were invaluable for state-level cyber warfare. Among these targets was an individual known only as P4x. He wasn't a soldier nor a diplomat, but a digital architect navigating the precarious landscape of internet security. He, like others, found his systems under relentless assault, a direct challenge from one of the world's most reclusive and dangerous regimes. P4x, a seasoned expert in the intricate dance of cyber defense, meticulously documented the intrusion attempts. The North Korean agents, precise and persistent, sought to compromise his systems, intending to exfiltrate his custom-built hacking tools and exploit his knowledge. This wasn't a random scan, it was a targeted, state-sponsored operation designed to recruit or neutralize those who posed a potential threat or whose resources could be repurposed for their own agenda. P4x understood the gravity of the situation, the geopolitical implications of being personally singled out by a nation-state. He knew that this wasn't just about data, it was about power, influence, and the digital arms race unfolding in the shadows of the internet. Expecting a swift and decisive response, P4x reached out to the proper authorities, the FBI. He provided them with detailed logs, IP addresses, and forensic evidence of the North Korean breach. He anticipated an immediate counterstrike, a protective shield, perhaps even a collaborative effort to track and dismantle the threat. Instead, he was met with silence, bureaucratic inertia. The promised support never materialized. The government did nothing. It was a stark, chilling realization. He was alone. The digital battlefield, P4x concluded, required a different kind of soldier. Part 2. The Lone Wolf Strikes. The sting of abandonment festered, transforming into a calculated resolve. P4x wasn't just a researcher anymore. He was a disillusioned veteran, armed with skills honed in the very conflicts the government seemed unwilling to address. He decided to wage his own war. For nearly a year, he meticulously studied North Korea's incredibly isolated and fragile digital infrastructure. He observed its vulnerabilities, its ancient, unpatched servers, the lack of modern defenses, a stark contrast to the sophistication of its cyber-espionage units. This wasn't a sophisticated, targeted attack. It was an act of digital vandalism, designed to expose the hypocrisy and neglect that had left him exposed. The stage was set. 1 year after the initial breach, P4x launched his counterattack. The scene was far from a clandestine bunker. He was at home, in pajamas, a bowl of spicy chips within reach. This wasn't a team effort, nor a state-sponsored operation. It was a singular act of defiance. P4x unleashed automated scripts, exploiting long-standing, well-documented vulnerabilities in North Korea's Nginx web servers. These weren't 0 days. These were basic, ignored flaws, entry points left gaping open by a regime focused on offense but complacent on defense. With each command, a domino began to fall, signaling the impending digital collapse of an entire nation. The scripts, deceptively simple, began to take hold. North Korea's incredibly limited and antiquated internet infrastructure, built with a focus on control rather than resilience, proved to be its undoing. One by one, the nation's precious few public-facing servers began to buckle under the strain. Connections faltered, then dropped. What started as intermittent disruptions quickly spiraled into a systemic collapse. The digital heartbeat of a nation, already faint, was slowing, on the verge of flatlining. P4x, observing from his unassuming outpost, watched as the digital world went dark. Then came the blackout. Across the globe, cybersecurity trackers and intelligence agencies registered a seismic event. North Korea, a nation famously opaque, simply vanished from the internet. Government portals, once gateways, however restricted, to the regime's digital presence, went offline. State-run booking sites, critical for what little foreign engagement occurred, became inaccessible. Even the omnipresent propaganda channels, carefully curated to project an image of unwavering strength, fell silent. The entire nation, a nuclear power with sophisticated cyber-offensive capabilities, was silenced, not by a competing state, but by a single, disgruntled individual. The implications were staggering. For days, North Korea remained in a near-total digital void. Its internal network, largely disconnected from the global internet, likely remained operational, but its external face, its ability to communicate or conduct cyber operations globally, was crippled. This unprecedented act of digital annihilation was not the work of a state-backed army or a vast collective. It was the calculated retribution of one hacker operating from his home, fueled by a sense of abandonment and a burning desire for justice. The message was clear. Even the most formidable digital walls could crumble under the weight of a personal grudge. Part 3. Project Funk and the Digital Army. The blackout was just the beginning. Emboldened by his success and still reeling from the government's inaction, P4x decided to step out of the shadows. He revealed his identity, transforming from an anonymous target into a public figure, a self-appointed digital vigilante. With this revelation came a declaration: Project Funk, FU North Korea. It was an audacious, almost brazen challenge to a regime that had once sought to exploit him. P4x wasn't content with a single devastating strike. He aimed for a sustained, collective effort, a permanent disruption of North Korea's digital capabilities. Project Funk was not merely a threat, it was a rallying cry. P4x began actively recruiting a digital army, inviting like-minded hackers, security researchers, and activists to join his cause. Their mission? To continuously hunt and dismantle the regime's digital infrastructure, to ensure that North Korea's online presence remained fractured and vulnerable. This blurred the lines between individual activism and cyber warfare. Was P4x a hero, exacting justified revenge? Or was he a cyber-terrorist, wielding immense power outside the bounds of international law? The ethical debate was as complex as the code he deployed. Part 4. The Aftermath and the Gray Line. Project Funk quickly gained traction, attracting both fervent supporters and staunch critics. The digital landscape became a proxy battlefield, with P4x and his growing collective launching intermittent but effective assaults on North Korean digital assets. This ongoing campaign forced a global re-evaluation of cyber warfare. When a single individual can effectively wage war against a nation-state, where does the responsibility lie? The legal and ethical ramifications were profound. Was P4x merely defending himself and others from a rogue state, or was he setting a dangerous precedent for unilateral digital aggression, blurring the lines between vigilante justice and global cyber-terrorism? The P4x incident remains a stark reminder of the volatile nature of the internet, where a personal vendetta can escalate into international cyber conflict. It highlights the vulnerability of even the most isolated digital infrastructures and the potent, often terrifying power held by individuals with the right skills and a burning grievance. The North Korean regime, once a formidable digital aggressor, found its own weaknesses brutally exposed, not by a state-sponsored army, but by a lone hacker abandoned by his own government. The mystery persists. Did P4x truly delete North Korea, or merely expose its fragile digital facade, forever changing the rules of engagement in the shadows of cyberspace? End of log.